Good afternoon, everyone. So, we are in this 20th week of our discussion on the current affairs, right? As you all know, Thursdays are for IR and world, history part. So, we'll be discussing some of the most important topic related to your history and international relations part today. These are important, as I have told you, for your prelims as well as upcoming mains examination, right? So, listen to these discussions very carefully, try to understand the concepts and then apply them in your preparation, right? So, the topics of discussion for today are going to be these. Plus some additional topics also not mentioned here exactly, right? So, the first discussion we will have on G7 and the G7 summit, which was attended by our Prime Minister Mr. Modi in Germany, right? Then a very important initiative, very important strategic initiative introduced by introduced by G7, that is the Global Infrastructure and Investment Partnership. That is what we are going to discuss and how it is going to counter the Chinese led BRI initiative, right? Then we will discuss about UNESCO's list of intangible and cultural heritage, right? This is also very important for your art and culture portion, right? Many questions are asked from this section, so we will discuss that in detail, right? Now let's begin the discussion. First of all, let's see what is G7 summit and what is its relevance, right? So you can see in this picture our Prime Minister Mr. Modi, he was in Munich. Where is Munich? Can you tell me without seeing on the board? Where is Munich? So, Prime Minister Modi was recently invited to the G7 summit that held in Munich, that was held in Munich. So, Munich is in which country? Yes, good. So, you are all there, I get to know that now. So, it's in Germany. Prime Minister Modi was invited to that session by the German leadership, and he also went there to show his presence. So now this G7 is important for our prelims perspective. There can be questions on G7 in prelims, right? So some of this factual information is important for you, right? So the first important information is the membership of G7, right? What are those 7 members? As the name suggests, G7, what are those important 7 members that are part of this grouping? Those are these highly developed economic countries, right? Basically, what you can think of: USA, one of the most developed economy, right? Then UK, then EU, right? And then countries like Canada, Germany, France and Italy, right? So just try to remember these if you because sometimes these help in answering prelims questions. So yeah, block of developed countries, you can say. So G7 is basically a economic cooperation between the developed countries, right? They came together to give a direction to the world economy. Being the largest economies of the world, they took this responsibility in their hands to give a right direction to the global economy, right? That is why G7 was formed. Now you see, that is why its origin lies in the World Economic Summit, right? There was a meeting, summit you can say as meeting or get together, right? There was a meeting related to the economic agenda of the entire world. That is where this group came up, right? So these countries, you can understand it in a simpler manner ki you are in a class, there are 7 students who are the toppers of your class, right? So now they have decided to come together and to help other students of the class to also succeed, right? So in the similar manner, these 7 countries, they came together to provide a direction for the prosperous growth of the global economy, right? So that is how this group came up. Now the relevance of this group is that, as we have discussed, that it is a group of largest economies of the world, right? So that is why they constitute 33% of the global GDP, right? दुनिया में जितना भी पैसा घूम रहा है, you can say of that 30%, more than, you can say almost 1/3 of that is contributed by the group of these 7 countries, right? And also if we see from the population perspective, they also form a significant population. 10% of the world's population is constituted by this group, right? That means that this group has a significant weight to, you know, make policies or to give recommendations regarding economic policies to the world economies, right? Also it has, you know, significant, you can say almost 1/4 of the global carbon dioxide emissions are made by these 7 prosperous countries, right? So what does that show? That this group also has a huge responsibility to work towards the carbon reduction goals, right? So that is what is all about G7. This is the information that will be relevant for you majorly, right? Nothing much more is required. The expectation of a question on G7 in mains is very low, right? We cannot say no, but it's very low because there are many other significant events that can be asked rather than G7, but for prelims it is absolutely important, right? Now the next topic that we will discuss, this is very important for mains as well as prelims. If not directly a question will be asked on this topic, indirectly you will have to refer this grouping in your answers and, you know, in your all the references of IR or history, you may say, right? So this topic is going to be very important, right? So the heading is what has G7 done? G7 in its latest summit introduced this global infrastructure and investment partnership. Global infrastructure and investment partnership, GIP you can say, just to remember it, global infrastructure and investment partnership, right? Now what is this project all about? What is this initiative all about? Very important, please understand it very carefully. GIP. So basically, as the name suggests, this initiative or this project of G7, it will focus on providing investments or capital or money for creating infrastructure, all around the world, right? So जैसे कि आप see if any countries, you know, if any country requires finance for building roads, railways, bridges, airways, any kind of infrastructure finance that is required by any country, they can avail it from G7 under its facility of GIIP, that is Global Infrastructure Investment Partnership, right? So now you must have heard of such infrastructure investment in, you know, in the world happening before also by some other dominant country. So can you tell me that country that is already providing this infrastructure finance and the project under which it is providing it? Quickly tell me, which is that country that is providing such infrastructure finance and under which project? Yes, Kanu, very good. Tell me the name of the project also. Yes, Savidesh, right, very good. Shreya, very good. Road and Built Initiative, Kanu? Is it Road and Built Initiative? Is it Road and Built Initiative? Built, B-U-I-L-T, built, you have written. Road and Built Initiative, is that the name? Right, so you see we have already seen this happening with China through its BRI, Belt and Road Initiative. Under Belt and Road Initiative, China is trying to see, this is the BRI of China. So under this Belt and Road Initiative, it is the focus of China to create infrastructure all around the world. जहाँ भी जिस भी country को, any country that needs finance to create any kind of infrastructure projects, China is providing them that finance, right? And the project that it has named is Belt and Road Initiative, and this is the pictorial representation, right? This is the belt that is going on, and the sea path that it intends to connect, that is the road. So please do not get confused. Road is not the pathways that they are creating. Road, they are referring to the sea route that they will build, and belt, they are referring to the old silk route that they want to revive, right? So on all these areas, wherever there is a need of infrastructure financing, China is helping them, right? So that is what is written here. This is all the information about BRI, very important for you. It was earlier known as One Belt and One Road. Okay? So because earlier China started with the intention of connecting the entire world through this chain of infrastructure belts, which will be known as One Belt and One Road, right? That was the vision. That is why it was named One Belt and One Road project earlier, right? Right? So now, so it's basically a global infrastructure development strategy. ये याद रखना है, पूरी दुनिया में जहां जहां भी इंफ्रास्ट्रक्चर की नीड है, वहां पे चाइना विल बी प्रोवाइडिंग दी पैसा और फाइनेंस. ठीक है, सिंपल हिंदी में आई एम explaining for the people who do not understand English very well. So it is just a project that has been, it is a strategy rather, not just project, it is a strategy that has been used by China to create its dominance around the world, right? So आप ये समझिए, China is the one who is financing loans for these small countries who want loans for their development. So what happens is, those countries become liable to China once they take a loan from China. ठीक है, चाइना से एक बार पैसा ले लिया तो उन कंट्रीज को चाइना के साथ पॉजिटिव रिलेशंस रखना, कोऑपरेट करना, या कभी कभी चाइना की डायरेक्शंस को फॉलो भी करना, ये उनकी मैंडेट बन जाती है. द कंट्रीज कैनॉट से नो because they have bought money from China, otherwise China will not give them finance, or China will impose difficult situations on this country that is dependent on China for finance, right? I'll explain in more detail how BRI is very harmful for the countries, right? Just first discuss the basics. So it was adopted by the Chinese government in 2013. It started in 2013, and since then it has spread so much in the world till now, right? So now China has spread its investments in over 70 countries by now, right? 70 countries and international organization, China has provided finance under the BRI project, right? So now, like I told you, China wants to assume the greater leadership of the globe by providing these finances. ठीक है, आप देखिए कि जो इंसान, just imagine that there is one person who is able to give money to all these small people. So what will be the stature, what will be the status, what will be the power in the hands of that person? Similar thing is happening here. China wants to acquire that power over all these smaller countries, smaller nations, smaller economies in the world, right? That is why it is using its money power, right? तो China क्या करता है? Just understand it very carefully. There is China. There is a small, you may say, underdeveloped, usually not always underdeveloped country, or a country who is in need of some finance for various infrastructure projects, right? Now what happens is China gives them money. Now see, usually China does not see the sustainability of the project. In many cases, it is found that wherever China gives money, the projects are unsustainable. Unsustainable in the sense that it is known that the country will be unable to pay back that loan money. Right? It is very much known कि ऐसे समझिए कि एक बंदा bankrupt है, a person who does not has a very good economic condition, you are providing loan to that person, right? So now understand, is it can you be even 50% sure that this person who is economically weak, he or she will be able to pay back the money that you are giving to him or her? No. So that is what happens. China provides money to these countries who are in need of the finance. Usually these countries are not in a status to run the project efficiently and to pay back the loans. So what happens is they are not able to, not able to pay back the debt, या आप कह सकते हैं कर्जा, हिंदी में समझने के लिए, the कर्जा that they have taken from China. Right? These small countries, many times they fail to pay back the loans. Right? So now what happens is China says कि you are not able to pay back the debt that you took, you are not able to pay back the money that you took from us. So they say take more money to pay back this debt. Right? Take more debt to pay back this debt. Right? समझ आ रहा है कैसे कर रहे हैं वो? See just here carefully once. China is giving to this country some loan or debt, you can say. This country fails to pay back the loan or debt. So China says take more loan, take more debt part 2 to pay back the first debt. Right? So this country which is not able to sustain itself at the first place, how will it be able to pay back this new kind of debts or the karza that it is taking, right? So this thing of it not being able to pay back and China providing more and more loans to the country, this leads to the debt trap. The word that we say, debt trap for the country. वो बारी बारी कर्जा ले ही जा रहे हैं, they are taking the debt, they are taking the loan from China, but they are not being able to pay back to China. So what happens is eventually China says that जब country पूरी खत्म हो जाती है, when the country says that we are in no more a position to pay you back, China says give us the land where the project was happening. राइट सो मतलब पहले सिर्फ पैसा दे रहे थे, अब वहां के ओनर बन गए. राइट पहले they were just financing your projects in your country, now they have acquired your land because you were unable to pay them back. Right? And that is what happened in a very important country in the Indian subcontinent. Tell me with which country this happened. Oh, already Kanu has written the answer. So it was Sri Lanka with which this similar phenomena happened at the Hambantota port. Yes, Shreya, good. Yes, you are all right. So this is what exactly happened with Sri Lanka. Right? Sri Lanka took loans for Hambantota project. They were not able to pay back China. What China said, कोई फिक्र की बात नहीं है, take more loan to pay back our loan. Right? Then Sri Lanka took debt part 2. Right? Again Sri Lanka was not able to pay back. Right? Now China said अब बहुत हो गया, we want the land back. So now Hambantota is with China for 99 years of lease. आप समझिए कि 100 साल के लिए अब China is going to rule over this land of this port of Hambantota of Sri Lanka. You see, Sri Lanka अपनी ही country में they will not be able to make any decision or major decisions with regard to Hambantota. आप ये समझिए दैट हमारे पंजाब में वी सेम हैपन्स in India and China acquires Punjab and all the decisions will now be taken by China and not India. That is some kind of thing that is happening here. That is how BRI is very counterproductive for the countries who are taking loans from China because of the debt traps that it creates. ठीक है? Have you all understood how BRI is very harmful? Tell me. That is how BRI is a dangerous proposition for these weaker nations. Yes, good. Right. So now the other dominant countries of the world like USA, UK, France, now they are trying to create alternatives for BRI. ठीक है, उनको पता है that smaller countries do need finance. ठीक है, ये जो small underdeveloped countries हैं who are in need of money, they need to be provided finance. So now what these dominant countries are doing, they are ensuring that these countries are not dependent on China for the finance that they need. They are trying to create alternative means through which the finance can be given to these countries in need, right? And one such initiative that we were discussing here is this G7's Global Infrastructure and Investment Partnership, right? This project exactly focuses on the same. So that is what it is written. G7 launched Global Infrastructure and Investment Partnership aimed at pushing back China's influence in the developing world. ठीक है, चाइना जो BRI के थ्रू एक्सप्लॉयटेशन कर रहा है उसको थोड़ा कम किया जा सके, चाइना के डोमिनेंस को कम किया जा सके, राइट? द G7 program responds to China's Belt and Road Initiative, right, which has been seen as creating traps, debt traps, right? So you understood why this G7 has launched GIIP, Global Infrastructure Investment Partnership, to provide an alternative means to the countries in need, to provide them a finance that is not coming from China, right? So this GIIP will act as that alternative, right? अरे हाय शाय बाद में कर लेना, पहले पढ़ लो. कितनी बार हाय हाय करोगे? रोहित, हाय विवेक, हाय रोहित, तुम्हारी दोस्तियां नहीं खत्म होती, तुम यहाँ पढ़ लो. Right, so that is what is GIIP, right? Now, so the major finance that will be given will be by US. US has committed already $200 billion to GIIP, that it will be giving this amount of money to the countries to finance their infrastructure projects, right, over the next 5 years. And now USA also expects other countries of G7 to provide similar kind of finance, right? So USA is saying that it wants other countries of G7 also to contribute in this GIIP project so that they can replace China in the developing world, right? I hope कि ये समझ आ गया हो. बहुत important है. Whenever there is a question on BRI, China, or global geostrategic or geopolicy that is going on, this mentioning this GIIP will fetch you very good marks. That is why always remember this concept, this idea, this project that has been launched. इसीलिए यहाँ पे मैं इतनी डिटेल में इसको डिस्कस कर रही हूँ. Always try to remember it, right? Let's read some more information about the GIIP that has been given. So it says that most of the fund will come from the private sector, sovereign wealth or global development funds, right? Now, among the first initiatives, see already GIIP के under the countries, the G7 countries, they have started giving finance to the needy countries, right? So here see the one such project is a farm investment in Angola, a country in Southwest Africa. So it has been provided with $2 billion to invest in its farm sector or agriculture sector. Right. In a similar fashion, see, for construction, for constructing a hospital in Ivory Coast. दिस इज अगेन अ प्लेस इन वेस्टर्न अफ्रीका. ठीक है, ये भी जाके मैप्स पे देखिए. मैप वर्क इज ऑल्सो वेरी इंपॉर्टेंट. चेक ऑन योर एटलसेस, वेयर इज अंगोला, वेयर इज आइवरी कोस्ट. राइट, हेयर finance has been provided to construct a hospital in Ivory Coast under GIIP. Rushi, so they are, GIIP is focusing on providing the country's support in other ways also. They will not just, so Rushi is asking that what will GIIP do if the countries are not able to repay. So see, GIIP, what they will focus, they will not just give money, they will also provide knowledge or the means to achieve a successful project. राइट, तो चाइना क्या करता है, उसने तो पैसा दे दिया, प्रोजेक्ट काम का हो या ना हो, दैट चाइना डज नॉट सी. राइट, बट व्हाट GIIP विल डू, फर्स्ट इट विल सी द वायबिलिटी ऑफ द प्रोजेक्ट, कि अगर हम कहीं हॉस्पिटल बनवा रहे हैं पैसा लगा के, तो क्या वो हॉस्पिटल चलेगा? Will that hospital be profitable where we are putting the money? Then only they'll finance a project. Right, so when hospital is profitable, so they'll have the money to repay for sure. Right, this is missing in BRI. BRI does not see the viability of the project, the profitability of the project. ठीक है, so that is how this will help the countries. Right, that is why, see, here it is written, G7 is offering sustainable means infrastructure projects that can survive on their own. राइट, चाइना क्या करता है, ऐसे प्रोजेक्ट्स में पैसा लगाता है जो आगे काम ही नहीं करते. कहीं हॉस्पिटल बना दिया एंड देयर आर नो पेशेंट्स टू विजिट दैट हॉस्पिटल, हाउ विल द हॉस्पिटल अर्न? Right, so that is why those projects fail. But here they will focus on the sustainability of the project also, कि अगर hospital बनाया है, school बनाया है, railways बनाए हैं या road बनाया है, that should be able to function also on its own. Right, yes, so that is why this is important now. ठीक है, so this is not just the first project that has been launched to counter the influence of BRI. Can you tell me some other such projects that have been focused on preventing the debt traps that various countries face because of BRI? Can you think of some other such initiatives that has been launched by the world powers, or some two countries specifically, including India, has introduced some such project? Can you tell me the name of those projects? If you have any idea about it. No, nobody knows about it. India and Japan, let me give you a hint. India and Japan have launched one such project. Which is that? Tell me. Not Quad. Quad is not providing any infrastructure assistance as of now. Yes, Shreya, very good. Shreya has answered Blue Dot Network. That is the project headed by USA. But which is the project that has been introduced by India and Japan? That is Asia Africa Growth Corridor. So basically it's providing finance for Africa, for African countries, so that they are not solely dependent on China. Right, similar is the case with Blue Dot Network. Blue Dot Network में क्या होता है, like जैसे हम होटल्स को स्टार्स देते हैं ना, मिशलिन स्टार्स, कि ये 5 स्टार होटल है, 4 स्टार होटल है, थिंग्स लाइक दैट. राइट, इन दैट वे Blue Dot Network, what does it intend to do? It wants to give such stars to the project. ठीक है, wherever the project is viable, they will give them a blue dot, you can say समथिंग लाइक दैट, राइट. सो वो क्या कर रहे हैं कि अगर कहीं हॉस्पिटल बनना चाहिए, सो दे विल रैंक वेदर द हॉस्पिटल दैट इज कंस्ट्रक्टेड इन दैट प्लेस विल दैट बी वायबल, सस्टेनेबल, प्रॉफिटेबल और नॉट, राइट. सो इट इज काइंड ऑफ मेजरिंग द क्वालिटी ऑफ द प्रोजेक्ट, राइट, ताकि कंट्रीज जब फाइनेंस ले रही हैं तो उन्हें समझ आए कि लेट्स सपोज कि उनको समझ आए कि जो फाइनेंस ले रहे हैं वो क्या, वो प्रोजेक्ट जो है चल पाएगा लॉन्ग टर्म में. अगर वो पैसा लेके एक स्कूल बना रहे हैं, क्या स्कूल वहाँ सक्सेसफुल होगा या नहीं, वहाँ से पैसा उनको बनेगा या नहीं, right. So to check that sustainability, this project will label the projects as sustainable or not, right. So that is why this blue dot network is also very important to counter the debt traps that BRI is creating, right. And this Asia Africa growth corridor, it provides an alternative to African countries to get their finance. So अब BRI पे dependent नहीं होना पड़ेगा, they can also get finance from India and Japan under this project, right. So these are also examples like GIIP to counter BRI. तो इन सब को याद रखिए, these all are very important, right. Now as you know, we are having this seize the mains initiative. So this is the question for you, seize the mains. Try to write this question, has been provided by the team and will be discussed tomorrow at 9. What is the partnership for global infrastructure and investment initiative, and then explain how is it different from BRI, right. Right. You can also try to think about how will it help the counter the impact of BRIs. That question also you can try to write. In addition to this, how will it help to counter check Chinese influence on smaller developing countries. Right, this is very relevant for your mains preparation, right. Indo-Pacific Economic Framework, no, that is not exactly focused on providing finance to these countries, that is something else, right. Now this again a very important index, this is very important for your pre, and the findings of this index is very important for your mains. Mains में चाहे essay आए, चाहे ethics के question आए, या GS2 या GS4, anywhere where you need to talk about women and gender inequality or equality or gender issues, wherever you are talking about, you should make use of this index, right. So now what is the index saying? India ranks 135 out of 146 in the global gender gap index. In the global gender gap index. See, you can always use this data in your answers to alleviate your answers. Can you tell me that which agency provides global gender gap index? Global gender gap index. Which agency provides? Without looking into the internet, tell me if you honestly know the answer. Which agency provides the global gender gap index? Kanu, is it Global Economic Forum or something else? ऐसे नाम नहीं चेंज कर सकते आप इंस्टीट्यूशंस का, अपने अकॉर्डिंग नाम नहीं रख सकते. Yes, Avidesh, right. Kaveri, right. Simran, right. It's provided by the World Economic Forum. World Economic Forum, WEF, ना कि Global Economic Forum नहीं है कानू जी, ये World Economic Forum, right. So this index has been provided. अब index क्या कहता है? Again a very important finding, you can use this data in your answers, that it will take 132 years to reach the gender parity. जिस level से हम चल रहे हैं, अगर हमें you know, we have to compare the pay that a women employee gets and a similar male employee gets, then it will take us 132 years to plug that gap, right? Okay, so remember this idea of 132 years. And you see this gender gap you know, difference is the highest in South Asia, right? This gender gap difference is the highest in South Asia. So whenever you are discussing the regional variation of gender divides, there you can always say that South Asia is the region that is suffering from the largest gender divide that exists. Okay, now because South Asia will take 197 years, that is what is written here. South Asia will take 197 years to complete the to plug the gender gap, right? Now this gender gap works on these 4 parameters. Try to learn these parameters also, क्योंकि prelims में they ask the parameters. They have already asked the parameters of global multi-dimension poverty index, so इसके भी कभी भी पूछे जा सकते हैं. So here they compare male and female gender based on their economic partnerships and opportunities, one. Second, based on educational opportunities or attainment, right? Then the health status. Finally, the political empowerment, right? So you see, India ki rank is good in just political empowerment, because we have you know, Panchayati Raj Acts where we provide women representation even at local levels, right? So इसी वजह से India की rank is good at this parameter, but at all other parameters, especially economic participation of India is very poor, right? So ये बहुत ही अच्छा डाटा और इंडेक्स है to use them that in your essays and answers. That is why these details are important. सिर्फ ये याद कीजिए जो मैंने डिस्कस किया है, this overall rank, this 132 and this, these 4 parameters and the rankings, especially these 2. You can always use them in your answers, right? Right, so for today we are done with the discussion. We'll discuss the rest of the topics in the next session. If you have any doubt, you can post it in the comment box. Thank you so much for joining.